Good afternoon. Compliment of the season to you. Merry Christmas in arrears. And of course, wishing you a prosperous New Year 2020. My name is Ego Sagmula, welcoming you to this week's edition of your favorite current affairs program, 60 Minutes Nigeria. I have with me very eminent personalities, very distinguished persons who will be joining me to analyze, to dissect national issues on the program. We'll be looking at the recent statement by President Muhammadu Buhari, where he assured Nigerians that he will pretend over a free, fair, and credible 2023 elections. Already has said he will not be part. And this time, he has warned politicians, he has warned those who will be seeking public office not to use his name to contest for any election. He said he will not allow any malpractices, electoral malpractices. So we're going to look at that. And also we're looking at the rule of law in Nigeria. As you are aware, Dansuki, the former security advisor under President Goodluck Jonathan's administration, granted a number of bails, including bail by the ECOWAS court, was denied freedom. But a day before Christmas, he was given his freedom. His bail condition, his bail term was not allowed. And of course, the Sowore, the man behind the revolution now, publisher Sahara Reporters, his own generated a lot of dust. He's also released. We'll be looking at that. I have with me very distinguished clergyman and a legal luminary in Edo State, Pastor Jim Osagede. Nice to have you with us today.
Thank you very much, sir.
Okay.
Compliments of the season.
Same to you. We also have with us a clergyman and, of course, a social commentator who will be analyzing this with us, Dr. Emeka Ekuga. Nice to have you.
Thank you very much, Abulaho.
Okay.
Nigerians, compliments of the season.
Okay. We have with us a chartered arbitrator and a notary public, of course, a legal practitioner, distinguished, and the state chairman, Nigerian Society of International Law, Edo State, Barrister Patrick Isiekwene. Nice to have you with us today. Okay, so we get the ball rolling. We will be looking at the president's assurance to Nigeria. But let's just listen to the president. Let's hear him, and then my analysts will dissect what the president has said.
In front of the long term of injustice done to others, today most of us cannot go to our villages and sleep with our two eyes closed. We all know that. And it's moving forward and forward.
Well, what I want to promise Nigerians that I will work very hard on is free and fair election. All those that are going to succeed the National Assembly and the presidency, they better work very hard, because I will make sure, using the law enforcement agencies that elections are free and fair. Nobody uses his office or his resources to force himself on his constituency.
Okay, we apologize for that initial hiccup of Aisha Buhari being shown, but eventually we heard the president who actually gave the assurance. It was during his birthday that he gave the assurance, and he has said he will not be part of the 2023 election. We'll start with Pastor Barrister Jim Osagede. Now, what is your take on the president's assurance to Nigerians?
Well, thank you very much. First and foremost, we are excited, so to say, that the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, for once, has come out to tell the populace that he will allow the election to be free and fair.
Yes.
You know, I think that statement is predicated on the fact that he's not running again. You know, if that is the case, then we should be expecting a free and fair election.
Okay.
But it's not just to make the pronouncement. If the president actually wants a free and fair election in subsequent outings,
yes,
the first thing he should do is to assent to the bill that will enable us to have electronic voting.
What bill are you talking about?
Where, you know, the
electoral bill?
Yes, the electoral bill, you know, the amendment to the electoral bill that guarantee electronic voting.
Okay.
You know, where INEC is supposed to have, you know,
a server?
A server in this world, not a server elsewhere. You know, I mean, where, you know, votes cast, you know, can be calculated by electronics. You know, can be calculated by machines. You know, where, you know, the president, from that statement, I want to believe that, you know, election is not going to be a matter of do or die anymore. You know, the president is not going to deploy the armed forces and the police and other security agencies to be in the, you know, to be
polling units.
To be immersed in the election. So we expect that if a president, if under normal circumstances, you know, as the economists will say, as ceteris paribus, when a president makes a pronouncement that, you know, that is expected and meets international standard, every other organs of government, even the security agencies, you know, they will take it as a signal that nobody is allowed to misbehave this time around. You are a policeman, you go there, you do your security duties, you don't infringe on the rights of other people. So let's see what happens. A build up to the next 2023 election will actually reflect the fact or not if what the president has said he will carry through. Okay,
thank you very much. Dr. Meka Ekuga.
Thank you, thank you. Let me quickly react to what my brother have just said.
Yes.
Nigeria belongs to us. We belong to Nigeria. So we are also believing that in 2020 Nigeria will be better. On one condition, maybe later we'll look into the rule of law. If Mr. President, from the deep of his heart, said he is going to conduct free and fair election in 2023, he should also be ready to do away with certain things that has been the reason why in Nigeria we cannot sit down and we cannot just say Nigeria elections are fair in the past. But I felt the one that brought him in the 2015 was a little bit credible. Now, what am I trying to say here? If Mr. President really mean that he promised he's going to conduct free and fair election, we should also look at him, you know, doing away with, number one, what do you call it? This electoral tribunal.
Is it card reader?
No, election tribunal.
Okay.
Election tribunal should be do away with. Going to court should be do away with. Because if all these things are there, that means there is no focus of having a free and fair election.
No, but no matter how an election is conducted, some people will feel aggrieved. That's why they need to...
What will make you aggrieved if everything is in place? Now, take for example, we've been agitating that Nigeria is qualified and matured enough, you know, to go into electronic voting. In time, even before 2015, we've come here agitate on that, and there are some electoral laws that have been, you know, passed, and they forward to his table to assent to. He has not been able up to this moment. And we are talking about him promising us free and fair election in 2023. I don't know, maybe, although it's possible with God. God with us is possible. But if I look at the lips of Mr. President, I will quickly say, if you want to get that really, he should start from now. He should start from now. Let those electoral laws that has been, you know, put in place for him to assent to, let him sign them into law. And from there, we begin to see how we can be able to actually get free and fair election in 2023. Not just mercy. Because when you say that he has promised us, who is going to be?
Okay, thank you. Not Republic, Barrister Patrick Isekwene. Yes. Your take.
It's not the Buhari I know, because I've known Buhari for the past 4 years as the president of this country. If that female were to manage from Asha Buhari, I would believe her. She's a very honest woman. She don't have feeling. She act according to the way this. I will believe I Buhari, but not the Buhari I know. This is not the first time. No, it's not the first time. The last time before the election, the ICT, Federal Criminal Court of Justice, the only attending judges there, is second to conduct a fair election. That was it. He said it. This election that brought in, we saw what happened in the country. A lot of things happened. Even as they are releasing the result of the election, a lot of petition before the INEC chairman. Up to today, nothing happened. It was the play winner, I think, by not an hour, at about 5 p.m. 5 a.m. So we saw what happened. Same person giving same promises. Not the promise that he will give us a free election. It's not possible.
But don't you look at the fact that he has already said he will not be part, he will not contest.
No, yes,
because the constitution does not allow him.
Yes, of course.
So don't you think you'll be an unbiased umpire now?
I'm saying I will get to that place.
Okay, yes.
I'm still talking. I'll get to that very place.
Okay.
But he's person. This time around, he's not even a player. He's an onlooker. He's not but he's barred by law to contest. If not, we would have still contested again. Yes, he probably contested. Now that he's not a player, you know that you have heard so many things from friends, even from the wife, that is the campaign that is ruling this country. And again, just recently again, a few days ago, President said yes, they're not saying having campaigns. So that all government are having campaigns. So this is those who are going to do the manipulation of things, not even Buhari, it is the campaign that will decide it. I can tell Buhari now telling us when these men are on ground, and by your conduct, a lot of things have been happening around you. You refuse to act. The electoral you must show action. Oh, the electoral be before I said to it, which my colleague there spoke about. You need to accept to the election to voting. You don't accept to you don't take a step that you have put a democracy in place. Even when you promise the world outside the world the AIDS that free and fair election, you need to do something that will guarantee free and fair election. So that's important. That doesn't Buhari doing that when the cabals are around. So every God that will know what will happen there because it is the cabal that will decide the fate of the election, not even Buhari.
Thank you. Okay. Well, the president has made his remark. It's now left for him to keep to his promise. Yeah. Yes. But looking at democracy, the same president was credited to him. Like I said, sometimes democracy is slow. You know, there are certain actions he would have taken to really revamp Nigeria. But because of democracy, he has to obey the rule of law. We'll get to that later. But looking at our democratic tenets, the electoral practice, do you think Nigeria is adjusting in the right direction?
Well, it's unfortunate that the scenario, the things that we see is negative. Okay. You know, they are negative. Nigeria seems to be degenerating. You know, instead of improving on the gains of the past. Yes. You see what happened in Bayelsa. You see what happened in Kogi, where, you know, the opposition party women leader was locked in a room and just roasted. You know, when you see indices like that, you know, it's very scary. You begin to wonder what these people are fighting for. You know, all these things are happening because, you know, I believe that majority of these people, their primary interest is how to get a piece of the national cake. It's not what they can contribute. You know, if you think of what you can give to your country, instead of what your country can give to you, then you are not going to go to that extent to keep people and the rest of them. You know, so a lot of things have gone wrong in Nigeria, especially the electoral system. Right from the primaries at the political party level, or up to the campaign system, up to the voting and the rest of them. I think all the cards should be put on table. I want to enjoy the current National Assembly. Even though they have passed a bill that the president has not assented to, they should, you know, I think it's another opportunity for them to re-examine those bills. Let's look at the areas where you really have hiccups. You know, all efforts should not just be based on, you know, asking the country to go electronic so that, you know, the votes can be counted by machines. Let's look at the process. What is the business of soldiers in an election? What is the efforts doing, you know, at the polling booth? You know, how well has the police, you know, performed its duties? You saw what happened recently in the UK. You didn't see any policeman, and in 24 hours the result was out. You know, so those are the kind of things that we should emulate. The system that we are practicing, the presidential system, was borrowed from America. Now, if you are borrowing a system, you should borrow, you know, the tenets that comes with the system. You know, just like if you are, you know, you go to your tailor, for instance, and he takes your measurement, he's going to bother by the kind of button, you know, when he gives you the clothes, he will recommend the type of shoes you wear so that you come out clean. So our election, it should be such that we implement the results and recommendations of international observers. Almost 90% of observers that have come from outside the country, they have marked, Nigeria negative. What does, the country do about it? You just see them under the carpet. Yeah. And those electoral offenders, they should be prosecuted. Now, if you have a situation where, you manufacture results for a party because of pecuniary benefit, okay, what do you do to the REC? What do you do to the officers at the police stations?
Yeah, but let me just interject. 2 INEC officers recently were sentenced to jail.
Yes, but that's a good development. I also read about it, but you know that they are more than that. Okay. They are more than that. What about people who give them the money? Okay. They need to talk about that. Okay. Because bribery is a two-way affair, the giver and the taker. Okay. So you don't, take the taker to the court and then you leave the giver. Because the giver, if he's part of the system that wants to get them by all means, nothing happens. That's exactly what we are seeing with, what the FCC and others are doing, where no matter how bad, no matter how much money you have stolen, when you cross carpet, they say your sins are forgiven. I don't think it's as blanket as that. So we should look into the details of the things that we are doing.
But we've seen on Jikalu's case. He left the PDP for the APC, but his sins were not forgiven.
He's just a scapegoat. He's one out of the many.
We'll talk about rule of law later, but we are gradually moving towards there. Well, Dr. Emeka.
Yeah.
Now, what do you think we should do to actually ensure free and fair election?
Well, I've said it earlier. Yes. And let me add to this. Edo State governorship election is coming up.
Next year.
Next year here. And if Mr. President really meant well for this country, let's put a text through Edo State. Okay. And by doing this, we should be able to get closer to 2023. But unfortunately, who cares? Somebody is sitting somewhere. If you want everybody to die and you remain the leader, and you lead maybe the woods and the empty houses, fine. But in this issue, Mr. President should rise to why we elected him as a president. Because whether you voted for him or not, as long as he's there. He's the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. He is number one. There is something my brother here said, Jim, said earlier. He said if Mr. President stands and, give a word, people should be trembling. They will say, Mr. President have spoken. Yeah. And everybody should adjust. But today is unfortunate. I even begin to wonder if we only hear his voice through video and it's not the one talking. I begin to wonder if they only kind of do some things and he comes up and said he has said and why he has not said.
No, but we heard him.
Even as I'm talking now,
don't lie.
Even as I'm talking, there is a way you can turn this camera and I will no longer be the person. It's possible.
But in this case, there's not like that.
It's possible.
This is the president, and he has given the assurance to Nigeria.
I am not doubting. I'm not doubting that it's not Mr. President.
Okay.
He is. But if he is, let him match his words with action. Okay. That is what we are looking at. We want to get it right. Everybody wants to get it right. It will not be good enough on that day we all sat in our houses. Nobody is going out to vote. Because I cannot, force in my head for somebody's life. I cannot die for somebody to come, even when you come to say you want to lead, you want to rule, you want to govern me. The next you do is to even collect from me. That's the loan I pay. They don't pay tax. I pay. And they use it to do whatever they want to do. I am dying and they are living. Tomorrow they are in London for one medical attention or what. But we can't afford to buy paracetamol here. So if Mr. President has promised Nigerians that he's going to conduct free and fair election, I challenge Mr. President, my president, our president, 2020 Edo State governorship election. Let's make some experiment. And as he said, there should be this law. You cannot just imprison 2 electoral officers. For what reason? They collected money or they manipulated one thing. Who did they manipulate it for? Was that election cancelled? What was their findings? who they worked for that made them to collect such huge amounts of money that resulted to their imprisonment. What happened to the person? And if all these things are not put in check, my brother, what are we disturbing
So what
our
you're
lives?
saying, you want us to see more convictions?
Yes.
More people go to jail
Yes.
for electoral offenses?
Yes, because it has gone to extreme. That is just the basic truth. And if nothing is happening, you see the rest people, they say the rule of law, you wait for 20 years, just like Ojo Zokalo. You know when he committed his crime. And according to him, the way I watched it the other day, he said he was advising other governors like Okrocha, and senator like Okrocha, and the rest of them, that they should be careful. He was a kind of, that is a story that people don't want to listen to.
Okay, we are going to come to rule of law.
Yeah.
Thanks, Dr. Meka. Mr. Patrick, now, do you think what Nigeria is passing through now, the doldrum, the underdevelopment, is an offshoot of wrong elections?
Yes.
Over the years, I'm not
Yes,
specific
yes,
of any
yes,
administration.
Yes.
Yeah.
Over the years. So when the president, that was when he made that statement that it's by 2023, after election, I think I said it for the slap people. No more that people have it, cannot be what you don't have. The only place you should borrow leave from later Yaradua. A man that acknowledged the election that brought in that was full of irregularities.
Okay.
Was not okay. But there were manipulations. He confessed, he said it. That's what that election brought in. This is a man that he now said he wants to take steps. And he came up with action. That's a man that believes that wants to do something right.
He would have resigned immediately.
About the election that brought in. He was so speaking good about his election. He never said anything evil, all the evil they committed. In his election that brought in, he never said so. He never do what confess. That does not, we say better, no problem, but I'm going to do something. I came through wrong way, through wrong process. Have you ever president? All is after you have to fight the party be in power, take over winning. Most elections they organize in most states, as other people will ever win election, apart from the party in power. No, because he's there backing them. Before you know it, congratulations. So the issue is that it should let him what you say. That's why I said I don't see him doing that, but it should change. There are two people were committed by INEC, not just 9. I think about 3 commissioners were indicted, about the other 6 other INEC officials. When they said they get 400 million, one collected 500 million, they all confessed. One confessed that he shared the money. Only two have been convicted because we were giving France to do their work. Even the court, before you know it, they started regarding the court, started embarrassing the judge. Even the judge has not this matter. So we don't want to have free affair election. Those the judges should not be disturbed of performing their duties. The judges, the tribunals, they want to commit those two INEC people for now because they were giving free hand. Not when they stage manage and manipulate courts. Let me not just have to.
Yeah, but Mr. Patrick, most of these things you are saying, you do not have the evidence.
No, I have the evidence of the
substantiate it.
No, I have the evidence
So,
of the but not two INEC people not committed.
Your accusations cannot be substantiated.
No, before they committed,
Yes.
they get money to about 3 INEC commissioners were collected to give 400 million, one about 450 million.
No, you were talking about stage money, judges being manipulated.
For example, now
we do not accept that on this program. No, we do not accept that on this program because we cannot substantiate such evidence. Mr. Patrick,
even say we don't have that matter again.
yes, Soware's judge made a remark because of the publication by Sahara reporters that he collected bribe in a case involving a governor, and that if he handles Soware's case, if he eventually delivers judgment, that judgment might be subjected to scrutiny.
Yeah,
so people may not believe because somehow they think he has interest. But we'll come to that, Mr. Patrick. Let's look at the subject at hand. We'll just quickly conclude this. Now, good elections will produce good leaders. How do we ensure good elections?
The templates for good election in Nigeria, they are not there yet. Like I said earlier on, right from stage 1 to the last.
How do we get it right?
What we need to do, one, we must ensure that offenders are prosecuted.
Okay.
Ballot snatching, it should stop. Where you, for instance, you flood a state with about 63,000 policemen, and then somebody is snatching ballots. you can't do anything about it. I think that is hypocritical. And then, sometimes you say that they are fake policemen. That should stop. The electorate also need to be, enlightened. Let the people know the power that is given to them. It's just like Moses at the bank of the Red Sea. He didn't know what the power that he had. And God asked him, what is in your hand? When he pointed it, the sea was divided. Yeah. The electorate should know that they can vote in and vote out anybody. So if you are not performing, you know that you are on your way out.
Okay.
And that is possible if the electorate can exact their rights. If they know the power of their ballot paper, that voter's card that they have, and all these things cannot be possible because what I'm saying now is theoretical. Okay. The practical aspect of it is that when you continue to have majority of electorate that are hungry, majority of electorate who are coming to the police station without breakfast, hoping that is there they will get money to go to the market, it's going to be very difficult. Because what the ruling class is doing now, even though not all of them, but majority, is to impoverish the people. And then distance yourself from them for the next 4 years. By the time the electionary have started again, you dangle some carrot and everybody's flocking around you. They start singing your praises, even though it doesn't make sense. So a lot of things have to be done. The economy is a part of it.
Okay.
But when you have majority of our youth, even those who are graduates, they are unemployed. Those who are employed, they are underemployed. Up to now, I tell you, so people are still gaining employment from government agencies less than 30,000 naira, less than 28,000 naira. So those people, they are not patriotic. So they see election as an opportunity for them to get a piece of the national cake. So whatever happens to every other aspect of the arrangement, it's not their business. So it's not something that you can do overnight. It's going to, it's going to take a long time.
Okay.
The education will start from the primary school. It will start. They should bring history back. People should know what happened to those who did not do well, and you remove them. Up to now, we still talk about good leaders that we had in the past. People still talk about late Chief Obafemi Awolowo. By the time I went to school, I benefited. As an undergraduate, I was receiving 120 naira a month as scholarship because there was free education.
Yeah.
That is to say that anybody who had the intellect to go to school at that time of free education will not be denied. So when you go through that kind of system, you would like to stand, for what is right. Exactly. But right now, a lot of people are hawking pure water on the street, not because they are dull, but because they don't have money to go to school. So when you emancipate the populace and you give them, meta awareness, they start to think about how to do that which is right.
Okay.
Talk to an average man on the street today. They don't mind. You don't talk about doing the right thing and the rest of it. They just call it bluff. That is not what they are looking for. They are looking for their daily bread. In fact, the system, everybody, from the taxi driver, to the teacher, to everybody, have to have a
Thank you, Barrister Jim. You really well, Dr. Emeka.
Let me
now, no, before I allow you, I want to guide what you're going to say this time. Now, the electorate. There are allegations. Like Jim has said, they still collect money from politicians. Now, when you collect money, you are compromised. How do we stop this?
Well, I've said it some time ago.
Yeah.
How do we stop it? Very simple. When you don't allow the politicians to, be siphonning money from the treasury, they won't have the opportunity to start sharing. What we are looking at here now is like a prophecy in 2023. If Jim join me, Barrister join me, you join me, every one of us join hands together, we can get it right. I can't go to the pool and begin to demand for 5,000 naira to vote for you.
No, it's not too much.
And
500.
Okay, 500 naira or 1,000. I'm too big for that. And number two, if you as somebody who is going to contest as a governor of a state, a senator, whatever office you want to contest. And I believe my brother, you came out here today. This is Christmas season. Barrister, you came out. You complained of your e-health the other day. Thank God you are alive. Even when it was not having money to go to London. But you know how much you spend in the bank card.
You're so particular about this London thing.
Sorry for that.
But Mr. President should be allowed to get the best.
Sorry for that. If the money is not there, you will patronize Nigerian doctors. You will patronize all those chemists. and the drugs will work by faith. So if the money is not there for them to some food, automatically they won't be jumping around, deceiving
Why are
people.
the electors collecting? Why are the voters collecting?
Of course, they knew that if you come in now, once you are declared a winner of a particular election now, the next 4 years, you won't see them again. They jump out. Some will go holiday. That is the reason they collect. So instead of the money to just, all of the carry go abroad, give me my own. If you share to 1,000 to over, how many population in a those states, let's start with that. The money, the thing is somehow out from the pocket.
So we will not get credible leaders.
That is the problem. How do we get credible leaders? It still bounces back on us. In the primary, let's stand up and say, this person is not qualified to contest. If the person you want to contest, probably and finally won primary, and it comes to the field, and the masses said he is the right person to go there, vote for him. When you vote for him, and the ballots were snatched, or people were beaten and some being shot in the name of giving somebody the office in a Buhari'S kind of system.
Well, we have been talking about the promise of Mr. President ahead of 2023, and my guests have really expatiated. They've talked about the need for voter education, for the voters not to collect money from any candidate, because they will be compromised, their decisions will be compromised, and politicians will now believe that you need to be a money bag to always get your way in. They are saying this is wrong if the electoral system in this country must be strengthened. And they've also talked about the issue of prosecution, the need for the security agencies to do their job. Whoever is the giver, whoever is the receiver, should be prosecuted to serve as deterrent to others, not only scapegoats, according to my guest. Everybody involved in illegality must be ready to face the law. Well, we'll be talking about another issue, very crucial, the rule of law, which is very interrelated with this issue of credible and fair elections in this country. Is there rule of law in Nigeria? We'll start with Barrister Patrick Isekwene.
Sorry, you just foreclosed me. I wanted to contribute.
Okay, no, I thought we have, you've spoken a lot on that. Okay, but you can quickly tip in something, yes.
I think I have 3 factors.
Okay.
Why we are not moving forward to avoid that problem still remain.
Yes. Okay.
One is, I believe, is the poverty of the mind.
Okay.
People are not enlightened, they don't know what they are doing. Secondly, is the issue of poverty. They believe if I get this, I can take care of my economic problem. Okay. They don't care. However, thirdly, our vote, does it count? What do I for myself? If at the end of the day we vote, we don't to hear that result.
So INEC must do their job to ensure that votes count. Thank you. So let's go to the rule of law.
Yes, sir.
Is there rule of law in Nigeria?
You should know that is in the public domain. That there's no rule of law in Nigeria. I've said that severally, and not even today. And thank God that the world is watching us. The world is the global village. There's no rule of law. A lot of things keep on happening in this country. And when you don't have rule of law, it's a very dangerous thing for democracy.
Okay. Now, Barrister Patrick, I'm going to interject there, because I know the viewer out there want to know, what is this rule of law?
It's okay. Now, what literally, in a simple way, what literally means that, you see, if you are allowed the 3 hands of government to do things, ordinary things should go.
Okay.
Those are part of rule of law. Rule of law is not only one way. Now, if a man commits, a big man steals billion, convict, let him go to jail. If ordinary man steals 10 naira, let him go to jail. Not by only jailing the man who steals and leave the man who steals billion. Or higher man, everybody literally allow it to take the way it's supposed to be.
Okay.
That's what the rule of law is.
So our viewer needs to understand that.
You don't need to subject searching to who is that person.
Okay.
Before I know whether we jail him or not. Or is he my friend? Or is he my party?
Okay.
It's not rule of law. Okay. Or because it's a big, without who goes go and let the person go in for it.
Okay.
That is the rule of law.
So the summation of what you are saying is that nobody is above the law of the land.
Nobody is above the law.
So that's the rule of law.
Rule of law. So let the 3 hands of government operate the way the law permits.
Okay.
And if you allow this to happen, we'll talk over that. So that's what the rule of law means. Yeah. So like this contract, there's no rule of law. But you know too well that in a government, it's not one person. You have 3 hands of government. You have the executive, you have the legislative, you have the judiciary.
Okay.
That was called separation of powers.
Yes.
Which is, you know what separation of powers? So to enable things, that is the life of democracy. Once you're playing democracy, separation of powers come into play. Every arm of the government must act differently to chase out balance.
Yes.
To check out balance. Don't not make, allow the law to make law, make the law, allow the executive to execute.
Okay.
Allow the judiciary to do their work. Not when one arm of government is superseding his power, even overtaking other people's powers.
Yes.
No. No, not what I mean. So what I'm trying to say is that, like, what we're expressing no rule of law in Nigeria is that the executive arm of government, which is the powerhouse, so a lot of things happen whereby they subject other people as if they are beggars or they are inferior to them, other from the government, because of the privilege they have. For instance, the executive that issue of payments or giving of monetary payment, monetary transaction to all those hands of government, they distribute it. They are in charge. Then the president is the charge of the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. So you've got to be in charge of all military, the police can come to you at any time. You understand what I mean? So this is one of the fundamental of separation of power. Okay. Then the immunity the executive enjoy, and that's on 308. The president, the governor, but the deputy, which other are not enjoying. They misbehave with it. They misbehave with it. So there are so many, even some outside or like diplomatic corps, also immunity. So just some of the things that play down
on the rule of law.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Patrick.
The rule of law.
Yes.
So, but what I'm trying to say is that any country that doesn't observe the rule of law is in a very dangerous situation. Because any government under the rule of law will bring progress. So the progress will bring discipline, will lead to development, will lead to accountability. So many things happen if there is a rule of law.
Thank you.
That's what I'm trying to let you know.
We'll come back.
It's a key to democracy.
We'll come back to you, Dr. Meka.
Yeah, I think.
Now, rule of law in Nigeria.
Yes.
There's always room for improvement.
Yeah.
I think there's rule of law in Nigeria. Orji Kalu, former governor of Abia State, has been sentenced to jail. Now, he has asked for bail. His bail application has been denied. It is believed that his appeal, he should wait for the determination of his appeal. So he's still behind bars. A former governor, chief whip of the Senate. Is that not a sign that there is rule of law in Nigeria?
Of course. Of course. I think I said a little thing regarding to that earlier. The issue of Orji Kalu, how many years ago?
Okay.
But good and fine. Today, we can see it very clear.
Yeah, it's in prison for fraud.
Black and white.
Okay.
When you talk about rule of law in this issue, don't forget it's not only Orji Kalu. If they have started with him, let it continue.
Okay.
This issue of immunity
Yes.
has been a problem regarding to rule of law in Nigeria. I don't know how you react when you heard that Democrat House of Representatives impeached Donald Trump. And there are other steps to take.
Yeah, the Senate is going to look at it
The
too.
Senate will look at it. If Nigeria can borrow this kind of system from where we are coming from, I think it is going to work damn well.
Okay.
This time around, nobody will come and say that I am Alpha and Omega. When you talk about rule of law, you also remember that a man that stole
A phone
a handset,
is as guilty as a man that stole
as guilty as you've just said it all. Whether you are the governor, whether you are a senator, no matter whom you are.
Okay.
And where the rule of law is not actually working well, and why it's not working well, is because the judiciary has, threw themselves to the floor for anybody to match. I cannot imagine judges with their standard. We look at them as semi-God. When God judge is final. When a judge in a particular country make a pronouncement, honestly, especially when they wear red, you don't have any reason to contest it. But today, the same issue of, I wouldn't know what I would call their own state poverty or compromise in a dangerous form. And before they will come up to say, let's conclude this matter now, it begin to take 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. Of what reason? Of what reason?
But at the end of the day, the judgment will surely be passed.
When we are no longer there to know exactly what happened. Do you know that issue of Oji Uzokalo, there are people that started it and said, this man must be persecuted. And you remember that some of them, some are already dead by now.
Dr. Emeka, thanks. We'll come back to you. We have a legal luminary with us.
Well,
yes.
I don't know, you want to ask a question or I should make my contribution?
Yeah, this rule of law.
Yeah.
Okay, just give us your take.
Well, you know, the rule of law is an age-long tradition in legal parlance, in legal practice. You know, it's a substantive principle of law.
Okay.
What the rule of law says, or what it means, is that every man is equal before the law.
Okay. That
nobody should be prosecuted arbitrarily.
Okay.
Nobody, you know, should be denied his freedom of expression,
okay,
freedom of association,
okay,
you know, that is not legally, you know, provided for in the Constitution.
Yes.
So what the rule of law says is that there should be no bias. The rule of law says that the three arms of government,
yes,
the executive, the judiciary, and legislative, they are co-equal. No one is superior to the other. You see what's happening in America right now.
Yes.
You know, their National Assembly, the Rep and the Senate, they are performing their, you know, their constitutional oversight that are also entrenched in Nigeria Constitution. That is why when this issue of quid pro quo, that is, you know, in law, it means when you do something because you want to benefit from it. That's what Donald Trump did during, you know, his, when he was trying to get his ticket. He asked Ukraine to investigate, you know, his rival, Biden. Now they see that as an infringement on the rule of law. That infringement is to the extent that you want to use your influence as a president, and sorry, you want to use your influence as a multimillionaire, as an influential person, to suppress somebody else. The investigation is in spite of the fact that you are now the president. You have to face the music. You have to face the music. So in Nigeria, for instance, the rule of law, if we want the society to work very well, let the rule of law take its place. Okay. You mentioned Uzokalo. It took so many years. You know, they say that, you know, justice delayed is justice denied. It takes too long. If the president commits an infraction,
2-3 years,
you take him out. You take him out. If the governor commits an infraction, you take him out. Whoever commits any infraction, you take him up. It doesn't really matter whom you are. It doesn't matter. You know, your statement alone can put you in trouble. You see, in those developed climes that we are supposed to be emulating, protest alone is enough for a president to resign. Protest alone is enough for a governor to leave his seat, because you are listening to the pressure of the people. Okay. So that is the essence of the rule of law. But I can say that in Nigeria, the provisions are there in our books. The provisions are there in the constitutions and other enactments, and even by the judgment of the courts, you know, superior record. All these tenets are there. It is the enforcement that is the issue. Okay. Now, when you have, you know, for instance, in Nigeria, there's something that I feel is clinically wrong in the law enforcement system in Nigeria. That is to have, you know, an attorney general and minister of justice who says that, you know, security supersedes the rule of law. There's nowhere in the world where you say security supersedes the rule of law. It's the rule of law that ensures that there's security. Dasuki that we are talking about, 4 years, that man has been, in detention. Which means that the executive, the president and the minister for justice and all those in the cabinet, on their own, they have a separate courts, different from the courts of the land. They have tried the man and they have put him in prison for 4 years. You know, that is persecution. That is not prosecution. How will you put a man in prison for 4 years or all the courts in the land or up to ECOWAS have said, release this man. I should have left him there. Look at Sowore. You know, it is because of the pressure that the Senate and some members of the House of Reps in America put on the federal government that they have to, you know, America is the policeman of the world. You know, the other day I saw a video where Sowore's wife was talking to the senators who are representing New Jersey. You know, Sowore is an American citizen. Yeah. You know, all those people, they put pressure on the president to release these people, telling the president that he should allow the rule of law to prevail. You know, the thing is so schemed in such a way that those who are supposed to speak, they are not able to speak.
Thank you. Thank you. Barrister Patrick, now we've seen Sowore's case. Eventually, a day before Christmas, he has been released. Dansuki has been released. Dansuki, from what we heard, refused to go to court because he said since he was granted bail, he was not allowed to enjoy the freedom of his bail. So he refused to, go to court, to honor court, to attend court hearings. Now, don't you think, yes, it's a sign that the rule of law is taking its course?
Well, I don't see that as a sign. No.
Okay.
It's why it's a forced action. That's what I decided to leave my colleague.
Yes.
A keen interest.
Okay.
Yeah, keen interest. You are aware, when you even say 4 years, it's not 4 years, that by legal calculation as a lawyer. That's was there for over 8 years, go to 9 years now. Concurrently day and night. It's more than concurrently day and night. For 8 years. Concurrently.
Okay, but what we know, we member of the public, we know 4 years.
8 years. See, what I'm trying to say is that
Yes.
to keep a man who has been given bail for such a type of 8 years, it's an aberration. This is a global embarrassment to the rule of, we're talking about the rule of law. You must go head there. The president head in, if we should release the man, when courts have given order, you should be released. He refused to. I'm talking about the rule of law. If they refuse to obey court orders because the police are under your command, which is bad. It's a sorry, they're not getting about 2 different ones again, they kept in there. If not the saving grace America, we produce the slave to project, even place Nigeria in a human rights evaluation league, where watch now, even a religious evaluation. All these things are given them 72 hours. You know what they
But if you say,
no, listen to me.
No,
the people don't ordinarily.
Mr. Patrick,
No.
yes, I will listen to you.
Yes.
Continue.
Yes.
Now, the Attorney General
Yes.
took over the case of Sowore from the DSS.
Yes. Yes.
Don't you think that could have led to this release?
No at all. I say it's the pressure from. Are you not aware now? That's why the state have for over 8 years now. You release immediately. American said there's the pressure, the rule of law, they're promoting violation of rule of law. Nigeria, we're not placing a watch list.
A religious issue. But the federal government said the US do not have the right to interfere in the affairs of Nigeria.
That's why when I saw this now, what the president said was that there's a new brief from his confidant, that's the cabal. You know what he said now. So you have to forget the issue of DSS. And I had to release him immediately. That has to do with political and international implication. Globally, the rule of law is not being respected in Nigeria. So a lot of people all refer back to Tasuki. That's why immediately to release Tasuki, how they go to the international community. It's not free will. And a lot of them will still play. Let us watch and see the way this is
Let me quickly come in here, finally.
Yes.
If the time is not...
Okay.
Now, I am of opinion, if the rule of law must begin to work in Nigeria, who is to be Attorney General or Minister of Justice should not be the one somebody appoints, even though it's by hierarchy. Nigerians should decide like they decide for president. In as much as we have the presidency, we have the lawmaking, which are the senates or whatever.
Yeah.
The
National Assembly.
Yes. Then we have the judiciary. Before the president is being appointed, is being elected, whomever is also going to be in that office should also be elected by the lawyers, the judges. I don't know if you understand. I am just trying to kind of bring my own...
Yeah, you are advocating.
Good. So you will find out
that you cannot change the constitution.
It's just the problem. You find that things will also begin to... We can't change the constitution, yet people are not obeying the constitution.
No, sorry, sir. I don't know if I will toe your line if those who are elected are doing the right thing. We're having a problem with those who are elected. Okay. And you are talking about elected. Yeah. I think it will compound the problem.
No.
The nearest to that is the parliamentary system of government.
Okay. Fine.
Where everybody will come into
electoral college and all that.
From there you
Fine.
know. But even the Malami itself,
the judiciary should protest.
With reference to what the moderator said, our dearly beloved Mr. Abolao. You know, Malami at first, when he took the files,
Yeah.
he said he doesn't have power to order for his release. When America put pressure, he said now they obey the rule of law. That is just what I want to say.
So, Mr. Jim, I want to thank you. I've just been told that our time is up. Time is not always our friend on this program, but I see that my girls have really dissected the issues that we've looked at today. Mr. Jim Osagede, who is also a clergyman, thanks for coming on the program.
Thank you very much.
Dr. Meka Epuga, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
You've made very wonderful contributions on the program today. You've advocated, but I hope that the Constitution can accommodate your advocacy. I want to thank the Notary Public and, of course, the distinguished legal practitioner in our midst, who is also the chairman of International Lawyers in Edo State, Barrister Patrick Sekwene. I can see how emotional you have been. Thanks for your contribution on today's program. My name remains Egosa Agbolao. Merry Christmas in arrears. Wishing you a prosperous New Year 2020. See you next week. Bye-bye.